Today our topic is the Stoic approach to handling regret. Regret is something everyone feels at some point in life. It is that heavy feeling in your chest when you think about the past, about things you did or did not do, words you said or did not say. Regret can make you feel stuck, like you are trapped in a moment that has already passed. But the Stoics, ancient philosophers who believed in living a life of wisdom and calm, have a different way of looking at regret. They teach us that regret does not have to control us. Instead, we can use it as a tool to grow and become better. Let's explore how. First, let's understand what regret really is. Regret is a feeling of sadness or disappointment about something that happened in the past. It often comes from thinking, if only I had done things differently. Maybe you regret a decision you made, like taking a job that didn't work out or ending a relationship. Maybe you regret not taking a chance, like not pursuing a dream or not telling someone how you felt. Regret can also come from actions, like saying something hurtful or making a mistake that affected others. Whatever the cause, regret is a natural emotion. But the Stoics remind us that while we cannot change the past, we can change how we think about it. The Stoics believed in focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. This is one of their most important teachings. When it comes to regret, the past is something we cannot control. No matter how much we wish we could go back and change things, we cannot. The only thing we can control is how we respond to the past. This is where Stoicism gives us powerful tools. Instead of letting regret weigh us down, we can use it to learn and grow. The Stoics teach us to ask ourselves, what can I learn from this experience? Or how can I use this regret to make better choices in the future? By shifting our focus from what we cannot change to what we can, we turn regret into a teacher rather than a burden. One Stoic practice that helps with regret is reflection. The Stoics believed in regularly reflecting on their actions and decisions. This is not about dwelling on the past or beating yourself up for mistakes. Instead, it is about calmly looking back and asking, what went well? What could I have done better? This kind of reflection helps you see your mistakes without judgment. It allows you to take responsibility for your actions without letting guilt or shame take over. For example, if you regret saying something unkind to a friend, you can reflect on why you said it. Was it because you were upset? Did you not think before speaking? By understanding the reasons behind your actions, you can learn to respond differently in the future. Another Stoic idea is to accept what has happened. Acceptance does not mean you are okay with the mistake or that you do not care. It simply means you recognize that the past cannot be changed. Fighting against the past, wishing it were different, only makes the regret stronger. Acceptance frees you from that struggle. It allows you to say, this happened. I cannot change it, but I can choose how I move forward. This is not easy, especially when the regret is tied to something painful. But the Stoics remind us that pain is a part of life. By accepting it, we can find peace and focus on what truly matters. The present moment and the future. The Stoics also teach us to focus on our own actions rather than outcomes. Often, regret comes from focusing on the results of our decisions rather than the decisions themselves. For example, you might regret starting a business that failed. But the Stoics would ask, did you make the best decision you could with the information you had at the time? If the answer is yes, then there is no reason to regret. You cannot control whether a business succeeds or fails, but you can control how much effort and thought you put into it. By focusing on your actions rather than the outcome, you can let go of regret and feel proud of the effort you made. One of the most powerful Stoic practices for handling regret is the idea of Amor Fati, which means love of fate. This means accepting everything that happens in life, good or bad, as necessary and valuable. The Stoics believed that everything happens for a reason, even if we cannot see it at the time. Regret often comes from resisting what has happened, wishing it were different. But Amor Fati teaches us to embrace it. Instead of saying, "Why did this happen to me?" we can say, "This happened for me." Even painful experiences can teach us important lessons or lead us to new opportunities. By loving our fate, we transform regret into gratitude. It is also important to remember that regret is often tied to our expectations. We regret things because they did not turn out the way we hoped. But the Stoics remind us that life is unpredictable. We cannot control everything, and things do not always go as planned. By letting go of rigid expectations, we can reduce the amount of regret we feel. Instead of expecting life to be perfect, we can accept that it is full of ups and downs. This does not mean we stop striving for better things. It simply means we stop being surprised or disappointed when things do not go our way. This mindset helps us handle regret with grace and resilience. Another way Stoics handle regret is by practicing gratitude. When we focus on what we have lost or what went wrong, regret can feel overwhelming. But when we focus on what we still have and what is going right, regret loses its power. Gratitude shifts our attention from the past to the present. It reminds us that even in difficult times, there are things to be thankful for. For example, if you regret a missed opportunity, you can focus on the opportunities you still have. If you regret a mistake, you can be grateful for the chance to learn and grow. Gratitude does not erase regret, but it puts it in perspective. Finally, the Stoics teach us to live in accordance with nature, which means living in harmony with the world and with ourselves. This includes accepting our imperfections. No one is perfect, and everyone makes mistakes. Regret often comes from holding ourselves to impossible standards. But the Stoics remind us that being human means being flawed. Instead of regretting our imperfections, we can accept them as part of who we are. This does not mean we stop trying to improve. It simply means we stop being so hard on ourselves. By accepting our humanity, we can handle regret with kindness and compassion. In conclusion, the Stoic approach to handling regret is about shifting our perspective. Instead of seeing regret as a burden, we can see it as a teacher. By reflecting on our actions, accepting what has happened, focusing on what we can control, and practicing gratitude, we can turn regret into a tool for growth. The Stoics remind us that life is not about avoiding mistakes or pain. It is about learning from them and becoming wiser and stronger. So the next time you feel regret, remember the Stoic teachings. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? And how can I use this to move forward? By doing so, you can transform regret into a source of strength and wisdom. Life is not about being perfect. It is about being resilient, adaptable, and kind to yourself. And that is something worth striving for.